What is the purpose of Christmas? Part 1. Hello everyone. Are you all excited for Christmas? Yeah, me too. I'm so much looking forward to spending time with my family. Oh, I love to drive around the neighborhood looking at Christmas lights. I love that. In our town and neighborhood. And that is my favorite part about Christmas. Now, I want to share something with you all, about Christmas. As I read the devotion, as I was meditating time with Jesus, and Jesus touched my heart and spoke to me as I was thinking on his words. I have a question for you all. What is what's the purpose of Christmas? I know. Some of you will think, oh, yeah, it's the same story like always. Jesus came down here on earth, born to die for us and for our sins and to save us. Yes, all that is true, so much true, yes. No doubt about it. But there is some more detail to the story. There's more. I want us to focus on God's heart for us, believers and sinners. Jesus represents God's heart beautifully in the flesh. Yes, so beautiful. Yes. First of all, let's read John chapter 3, verse 17. First I will read and sign in New King James Version, and then New Living Translation, okay? John chapter 3, verse 17. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him may be saved. Now let's read the New Living Translation. God sent his Son into the world not to judge the world, but to save the world through him. First, I want us to think about it for a minute, okay? We as human beings, we have our tendencies, yes, right? Let me give you some example with what I'm talking about. Okay? First example. Just think of, arguing. We tend to judge each other. When someone judges another person outright, without thinking, with hurtful words, and another person in his or her defense would judge back, with the same hurtful words and At the end, the argument turned to what? A fight. Battle with each other, leading to fight. You all know, you're all familiar with that, right? Me too, I've experienced that as well. Okay, let's not get carried away with Hollywood ways. No. Okay? Ha 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 ha. Second example. The person who thinks in his mind or her mind look down on another person with judgmental thoughts quietly. You know, by the expression, we all do that. Yes. No questions about it. Like a Pharisee named Simon, who secretly looked down on a woman with his thought, spoke to himself in Luke chapter 7, verse 39. Quote, this man, means Jesus, if he were a prophet, would have known who and what manner of this woman is touching him, for she is a sinner. Ouch! What a hurtful way to think of this woman this woman has no idea what the Pharisee was thinking, right? But Jesus did. Now hold on. Our third example is this. A religious Christian who has an attitude of, I'm holier than thou art, I'm better than you are. That's the attitude. Judging other believers with the spirit of legalism. The manner, I've experienced that one time in a church in the past. Like a pastor who is hearing said like this, quote, I've already met and saw another man of God, meaning another pastor, at the store who was wearing Bermuda shorts and told him, hey brother, I'm going to my church and take up a love offering to buy you a pair of breeches. Breeches mean pants. Ouch. Wow. Those very words were so awful and mean. My husband and I were shocked to see that, to hear that. And I thought to myself, wow, you dare to say that about that pastor? Oh, wow. I remember that. It's terrible. Okay, now, you see those examples that I just given you with hurtful and mean words? Agreed? Okay, let's look at how Jesus represented God's heart. God's heart with emotion, feeling, happiness, sad, joyful, angry, all those qualities in his heart to a woman who was caught in the very act of adultery. I want us to focus on how Jesus represented God's heart in the flesh, okay? Let's read John chapter 8, verse 1 to 6. New Living Translation. Jesus returned to the Mount of Olives, but early the next morning, Jesus was back again at the temple. A crowd soon gathered, and Jesus sat down and taught them. As he was speaking, the teachers of the religious law and the Pharisees, two groups, brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. They put her in front of the crowd. Can you imagine how this woman feels? Okay. Verse 4. The teacher, they said, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. The law of Moses says to stone her. What do you say? Verse 6. They tried to trap him into saying something they could use against him. They try and trap and trick him. They want to trap Jesus. That's their goal. The religious teachers, the teachers of law and Pharisees, that's their goal. That's all they think about. But Jesus stood and stooped down in the dust with his finger, wrote. I read in New King James Version translation that it describes very clear in John chapter 8 verse 4, saying, they said to him, Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery, in the very act. Meaning, wow, they went inside her. Now hold that. Now, wow, I read today's news about what happened in Chicago. The Chicago Police Department raided into a woman's apartment and searched and went to the bathroom where they found her and handcuffed, really not handcuffed in front, but in the back. Handcuffed her, naked, immediately. Yes, literally. The policemen were questioning her while she was handcuffed, naked. They were humiliating her, this woman, in front of all the policemen, standing there, handcuffed, naked for 20 minutes. This woman, why? She was naked. This woman just got home from work, and she was getting ready to take a shower. So she took off her clothes. And that's what happened. Okay? This is a real, actual news that happened to this woman. Wow. Now, Picture that. This in Jesus' time, with the same attitude that the teachers of religious law and the Pharisee had toward this woman who were caught in the adultery. The same attitude. Now, imagine that. They dragged her naked straight out someone's home and took her to the temple in front of other people and Jesus. I've got to hold on due to my video camera time limit. So I will continue this in the next video log. Okay? See you soon. To be continued.